Earth Hour resonates with my values of being responsible for nature. It is vital for me to ensure a green and great Mother Earth for all generations. I'm inspired to support the movement because I see the impact it has on individuals all around the world. With my 10 million tree planting project adding more impacts to it. Earth Hour is important because it allows us to work towards achieving better resources for nature. Tourism and agriculture are the backbones for Tanzania's economy, and they're also nature-based. So if you don't stop climate change now, these sectors will collapse. I believe in the power of unity and that the climate crisis is a matter of urgency.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Legacy and Legends series here with GW3 Live. I am your host, Dr. Renee Knorr, and today we have the honor of interviewing an incredible entrepreneur, philanthropist, and global icon who has truly shaped an industry in fashion, Brian Smith, the founder of UGG Australia. Let's bring Brian on up to the stage. Hi, Brian.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. And how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Brian, it's been such a pleasure even just getting to know you. And oh my goodness, wow, what a difference 2 years can make, Brian. All right. Yeah. It's been, and you look incredible. I want you to know that.
Thank you. You too.
You know, the first time we met, the first time I saw you, you were on the stage, and oh my goodness, I must have been I felt like a 15-year-old. It was just so amazing to not only be in your presence, but also to hear your story. So thank you so very much for just everything that you do. You truly are inspiring, not only your journey with UGG Australia, but also just being able to make an impact in humanity. And we're looking so forward to being together for the 2025 Secret Knock, thanks to the man himself, Mr. Greg Reed. He nominated you for the President's Volunteer Service Award. And I'm looking so incredibly excited to just dive into not only, wanting, and know your journey of wanting to give back. That's something that you do anyways. But you know what? I'm looking forward to us learning even more information about you as well. Right. I have that question to you, Brian. What made you take the leap, where it relates to coming into Australia? Whatever gave you that inspiration? Please share with us.
Yes, it wasn't a leap. It was a sort of a slow evolution. But regarding the giving back, even as a teenager, I can recall thinking that, I want to leave the planet better off than how I found it. And so I think that's the underpinning of this life of just figuring out ways to, make people happier that you come in contact with, or, and getting into the UGG boot business was sort of an accident, because I really came to America when I was in my very late 20s. I quit as being an accountant, which I finally graduated after 10 years, but I quit because I hated it. And I came looking for a new thing, in America that hadn't hit Australia yet, that I could bring back to Australia. And when I was in America looking, it took 3 or 4 months, but I realized eventually that there were no sheepskin boots in America. And that was, like the aha that I had, that, oh my God, everyone in Australia wears them. How come they're not in America? And so I just started importing them and built, I registered the name UGG, and then I built the brand around that logo and trademark registration. So that was a really big thing. Getting onto the reason for volunteering, though, is that when I started the business, I was so busy, there wasn't much giving back at all. And it wasn't until things got a little bit easier in the business, maybe 6 or 7 years in, that I started to realize that, I was going through a journey that was very unique to me. And I thought, oh my God, there must be so many other entrepreneurs who are facing the things that I'm facing. And back then, this was before the peer groups, the YPO and EO and all of the support groups that they have today. I was like Robinson Crusoe trying to figure out, how to finance production or how to advertise or, things like that. And so when I realized that I was a bit of a Robinson Crusoe, it made me all the more aware later on, after I sold the company, that I could start to go out and help by speaking to entrepreneurs, business people, salespeople, anyone in any organization I could find. And, and that was aided by one thing where all the time I was doing these, one-off type things. I would go, that'd be good in a book one day. And eventually I ended up with a folder about that thick of all of these little ideas I had. And it ended up becoming my book, which is The Birth of a Brand. And it's like a roadmap for entrepreneurs. And so a lot of people read it at the beginning and they said, oh my God, Brian, this is so good. You should be on the stage talking about this. And that, believe it or not, was, I'd never seen myself as a speaker. I didn't want to be a speaker, but I tried it a few times and everybody seemed to like it. And the audience I couldn't get over. This is the thing that made me stick with it. The people that would come up would go, oh my God, Brian, I heard this and you've changed the direction of my business, And I would be thinking, how come, 5 people just talked to me? They heard 5 totally different things from my talk, but each one was very instrumental in progressing them down their path. And that's when I realized the power of speaking from the stage. And so I just determined, because of this feedback I was getting, that this giving is like so rewarding. And that really, that is exactly why volunteering is so powerful. I've never had such a great return from anything like service. Like when you serve, you get the rewards. It's not money, it's not fame, it's not anything. It's a personal satisfaction knowing you help somebody. And that is so, so powerful. And it's sort of like my little drug, So I look for opportunities to speak every time I can.
Oh, you gave me chills, Brian. What such a truly, it shows how your vision alongside with your perseverance can lead to extraordinary success. Love the fact that, like you said, you didn't think you were sought out to be that speaker. However, you already was born to be that way. And I love the fact of your journey. Not only did your journey, you also made an incredible mark through not only with volunteerism, but also just giving back to the communities. I'm so excited. You know what? I'm telling you, look right here, Brian. Okay. We got the
All right.
Come on now.
Look at that. Well done.
Yes. And I'll share this with you. My daughter, college grad, she absolutely loved it's like, I'm like, okay, you worn that pair out. She's like, Mom, it's so comfortable. I said, I get it. It's so funny though, but we absolutely appreciate not only your love, and I want those that's watching, because we're on YouTube alongside with Facebook. If you own a pair of Uggs, go ahead on and drop your picture in the chat. I think that'll be really, really fun to do for today. Thanks so very much. You're very inspiring, Brian. And I just want to ask this question to you too. Can you share with us what inspired you to dedicate not only your time, but like you said, you would do it anyways, right? You would do it anyways. Some of the organizations that you've been able to help to shape based upon your personal alongside with your professional journey.
Right, sure. I think that the thing I'm most proud of is when I used to play very high level rugby in Australia. I played against New Zealand and I played against England. And when I arrived in San Diego, I was in my late 20s, and I heard just through the friends that the San Diego State University rugby team was about to disband because they didn't have a coach. And rugby at that time was amateur. It was the last sport ever to go professional. And I just thought, oh my God, it's so sad that rugby club's just going to disappear because of a coach. And so I offered to coach for 1 year, and I mean the guys were pretty bad at playing rugby. But the one thing they had was enthusiasm, and so 1 year turned into 2 years, turned into 3, 4, 5 years of coaching. And we built up a really strong, 3-tier, first grade, second grade, third grade tier of players. And, the first season we didn't win a game. The second season we won 1 or 2. But by the fifth season, we were starting to win regularly all across the Southwest, which was our division. Well, I ended up getting married in the fifth year, and marriage doesn't really work with rugby, especially if you're coaching. So I handed it off through some friends in the club. We handed it off to another guy, Steve Gray, who took him the next year, and San Diego State won the national title in rugby, which they only have two. One's volleyball and one's rugby, so it was a pretty big deal. And so that was, as hard as that was, I could never miss a practice. I always, even if I had the flu, I would run down, I'd had to show up for practice, had to go to every single game on Saturdays. And so it was a lot of work, but the reward from seeing these guys grow and their self-esteem grow, and I had their parents come up to me at homecoming times and saying, "Oh my God, I don't know what's happened to my son, but it's because of rugby. He's developed this character. So I knew that was my reward. Just as I finished up that 5-year period. But here's the real kicker. Fast forward 20 years, and I was driving down the freeway here near my house, and I looked across. They had just opened a brand new sports park, and there were like 5 sets of rugby posts in the fields. And I got off at the next exit, and I backtracked and found the field, and I started walking onto the field, and it was all youth rugby. There were kids from 8 years old up to 16 years old. And there were like 30 or 40 teams all over the fields, waiting for their turn and I started noticing, I looked at the coach on that field. Oh, I used to coach him at San Diego State, right? Forgive me for choking up, but this is the proudest moment of my life, And I looked at that field. Oh, I coached him at San Diego State. And the referee on this field, I coached him at San Diego State. And I started to realize that the generational impact of this incredibly successful youth rugby program that's going all across America right now was, something I had a hand in like 25, 30 years ago. And it's just so gratifying to see that level of response, just the level of everybody remembered me, and hey Brian, yeah, look, my kid's playing now. That was probably the biggest reward I've ever had from my service career.
Oh my goodness. I'm tearing up over here as well, Brian. Man, you can hear the passion in your tone as well. I saw one of those pictures where you were with your buddies. Now I have to ask this question as well. I know you talked about rugby, but did you also ever do any of the surfing as well by chance?
Yeah, I surfed all my life. Yeah. I don't ever remember learning, little kids in Australia find a surfboard somewhere and they start throwing around in the whitewater, So That's yeah. So, but surfing's a very personal thing. I can't say I have much, apart from just the camaraderie of going on surf trips with buddies. There wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of give back there.
But well, you know what? I love the fact that you talked about not only the connections that you had, and just being able to reflect upon them, because that's really what's so moving when we are so connected and passionate about what we do.
Yeah.
When even think about the volunteer work, we don't really look at it that way because this is what we love doing. And it just makes it so much more effortless when you find the passion of being able to connect with those incredible relationships like what you've been able to share with us today. And I just want to say thank you for sharing those moments, because I'm over here like, oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. And, one of the things I share with you, I'm going to put this on my wish list as well. I definitely want to visit Australia. That's one of those
Great.
places I
Yeah.
want to go to.
Yeah. It's a big country. It's just the same size as America, so make sure you take plenty of time.
I know, right? I love that. I love that. Well, what's so awesome, we are getting ready to not only see each other again in San Diego, and I know the weather is wonderful there, but let's give it up for Mr. Greg Reed. Oh
Yep.
my goodness, great energy, just always on fire. He brought us together again, and this whole community of just amazing trailblazers. What are your goals, not only for the future in community service and impact, but again, this is something that you do, not even try to write it down or anything like that, because, when you think about receiving this President Volunteer Service Award, this is one of the greatest honors on behalf of the United States. Thanks to Mr. George W. Bush, he was the founder of this volunteer award. And so when you think about that, it's like, thank you, George, for even just giving us the opportunity to shine the spotlight on incredible icons like yourself who have made those differences, but who do it without even looking to be rewarded. So share with us, how does this award fuel your mission to continue on giving back? And then what are your goals for the future in community service and impact?
Sure. Well, I'm just absolutely grateful that Dr. Reed and you have nominated me for this, and that I am going to be receiving this next week. It's an honor to be, seen by your peers, because when we go to that event, for the ceremony next week, there'll be hundreds of people there, and I know most of them because I've been attending, as a volunteer, attending to speak on stage for no pay, just because I love the inspiration, I'll call it. To me, it's sort of basic stuff, but to a lot of people who are starting out, it's rocket science. Just small business practices, connections, and things like that are so easy for me now. But I remember back 30, 40 years ago when I was just like blind in the wilderness of being an entrepreneur. I had no clue about what I was doing. And that's one thing I'll say, that, when people say, well, I'm thinking of starting my business, but I'm not an entrepreneur. And I say, listen, the one essential ingredient for every entrepreneur is ignorance. Because if you knew what was coming up ahead, you wouldn't even start, So if you are sort of on the cusp of trying to start your own thing, and you don't know all the answers, that doesn't matter, because the universe always brings stuff to you. As long as you're on a direction and as long as you're moving, stuff will come into your awareness that will help propel you. So, and then believe me, when I look back now on 45 years of since I started UGG, the best times were those first 5 years where I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I look back on all those times and think of the excitement of making new decisions and the fear of making the wrong decision, all that sort of stuff. But that's, as to your question, what am I doing now? And as far as future volunteer work goes, I'm just going to continue to, I want to promote my book because it is such a roadmap for entrepreneurs. And I am going to start, in fact, I have just started going out to college campuses and to professors who teach entrepreneurial, either financing, marketing, whatever, anything to do with business startups. And they don't have the budgets to pay me, but I want to just go to them and try and get my book accepted by as many colleges as I can as required reading, because it is such a great roadmap, and it's not just about business; it's about life and all the lessons that I've learned. The most important one being that nearly every time your most disappointing disappointments will become your greatest blessings. And I have seen that happen over and over and over again. And every audience I speak to, I ask, who in the last 6 months had some disaster happen in your business or your personal life, and now you think that's the best thing that ever happened. Every time, 80% of the audience puts their hand up. So that's what I want to continue doing. And even though it's not a lucrative thing for me, I would really like to see my book picked up by every college and every university and even high schools,
Can you hear me, Brian?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Yes, you gotta love technology, right?
Right. Did we capture all that?
The last thing I heard you say was your disappointments will become your blessings, and that was the last thing I heard you say.
Okay, let me finish. I'll say that again. Okay, so one of the most important things that I teach from the stage is a lot of philosophy about things I learned in life, not just business. And the most important one is that nearly always the most disappointing disappointments will become your greatest blessings. And every time I talk about that from stage, I ask people, put your hand up if something in the last 6 months happened to you at the time you thought was a huge disaster, and now you look at it and think, oh, thank God that happened. Every time, 80% of the audience puts their hand up. So that's the sort of, advice I like to pass on. Lots of philosophy, quite a bit of spirituality, because I believe we're all driven by this same intelligence that's God that's within us. So as long as I can get out on the stage and especially if I can get college campuses to pick up on this book, I think it'll be a huge step forward for every would-be entrepreneur that's going through college.
I love it. Well, we're going to help you, okay? Not only do we have a book club, Brian, this is going to be one of our books that we're going to be reading in our book club. But you know what's so awesome? Since we're all mothers, most of us in the Global Women Wealth Wars GW3 Society, we're going to make sure we keep you busy, all right? We're going to ensure that, because I just love the fact of the entrepreneurship mindset. A lot of us have to really embrace that. And once you as they say, once you get a taste of it, you won't return back. It's important for us to keep on driving, not only the economy, but also it allows us to be creative, just like you did. Because
that's right.
We have these fashionable, fabulous books in our lives, Oh my God, yes. Well, Brian, your journey is nothing short of inspiring. And,
Thank you.
I'm looking so forward to getting that hug from you again, right? That secret knock for 2025. And you said next week, but Brian, guess what? It starts tomorrow.
It is tomorrow, yes.
It starts tomorrow. It's like, oh my God, the time has gone by so fast. So it's like, as soon as I go to sleep and I wake up, I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys later on in the evening. And again, this is also a well-deserved opportunity for you. I love just hear your energy. You're so dedicated. You put so much work into even cultivating such a great brand. But you know what? That legacy, your legacy by far. I had to do my little extra special fashion today just for you, Brian.
Right. You're right. The legacy is something I never ever saw coming. It's it's pretty powerful.
It is pretty powerful. Before we wrap up today, I mean, I can talk to you for hours and hours, but I know your time is so, so precious. If there's anything that you would like to share with our GW3 family, we already know that we're going to help you to get these books in more of the universities. We're going to really help and push, even I would say in the high schools as well. My daughter, she's a high school basketball coach. And so that's another way to plant
Yeah,
those.
absolutely.
Yeah, Ryan Clark, with Ryan Clark Academy, I love Ryan Clark. You definitely got to bring it here to Atlanta. And maybe we need to talk about how we can work on that because, with Ryan Clark Academy students, they are phenomenal, Brian. Those young leaders are, even though they're in the middle age, but you know what? They are so advanced. And so I think that'll be really great because mindset is everything.
Yeah.
We know it is. And when you are so driven as an entrepreneur, you have to keep on feeding your soul with things that's going to keep you creating. And that's one of the things I love about Ryan Clark Academy right here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were here in Atlanta, Brian?
About 6 months ago. It's always been one of my favorite cities.
Great. Well, we're going to bring you back. The GW3 family is going to bring you back, and we're going to put you to work, okay? We're going to put you on more stages, and so therefore you can continue on doing what you love doing, and that's sharing your story. So
Thank
again,
you.
for all the viewers that's watching, please let us know what else can we do in order to help you continue on living your best life, because you're shining over there right now. You making an impact in so many different communities.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you and get on the stage with you tomorrow. No, the next day.
Exactly. Well, Brian, I want to say thank you again so much for joining us today. Your wisdom, humility, alongside of dedication, it's such great service. But I got to say this one more thing. I absolutely love you because you're a dog lover as well. And my daughter's like, she's a dog lover. And over there, Coco, is that right? That's the name of the dog?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Well, keep up the great work. You're doing such an amazing job, inspiring so much and so many. And on behalf of the entire community here, alongside with Secret Knock, we are so proud to celebrate you for your achievements. We're looking forward. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you at Secret Knock, right there in San Diego. And we're going to continue on this energy. And I got to get my book. I'm letting you know right now. I need to get my book when I see you. Okay.
I'll have one for you for sure, Dr. Renee. Thanks so much.
Thank you so very much. And one of the things we usually do here, Brian, as we close out, we like to roll our shoulders back. We always like to keep our heads up high. Not only is it time for us to blaze the universe, but we understand that we're the chosen ones to get the job done. So we know there's much more work, and I'm so grateful that we could do it together. So family, thank you again for joining us for this incredible, not only with our legend, but legacies, but also how we're going to continue on inspiring you. So therefore you can take action, and bold actions is what's needed. Wouldn't you agree, Brian?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I'll see you in San Diego. Okay. All right.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye for now. It's such a great honor to be able to raise funds for Living Beyond Breast Cancer organization.
Yes, thank you, Renee, very much for helping us to organize this event. It's for a beautiful cause, and it's always our pleasure to help people.